the White House and the Biden campaign are in damage control mode. Biden is meeting with governors and calling leading Democrats as pressure mounts for him to step down. Panic after the debate forced Democrats to float alternatives for November. Now, two of the people at the top of the list to replace Biden are from California, Governor Gavin Newsom and the state's former Attorney General and Senator and VP Kamala Harris. Nobody better to talk about this than our next guest, California's GOP Chairwoman, Jessica Milan Patterson, who joins us live. Chairwoman, as always, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So Newsom is meeting with the president today. He has his face out there. He's starting a new podcast. I don't know if you heard about this, Politicking, with NFL star, Marshawn Lynch, right? Lynch. Yeah, he was at the debate also, Gavin Newsom. He defended Biden's performance immediately after. Is a Newsom run for the White House something that can actually really happen? What's the chatter you're hearing?
This man has been running a shadow presidential campaign for quite some time now. I've been talking about this since June of last year, and there was no way that Biden was always going to make it through to the finish line. And now is a perfect opportunity. He continues to play this role of supporter. He continues to play this role of encourager, but he gets to go and visit all of these swing states, mounting a run for himself. And so we saw it with his red state tour. We saw him go on the international tour with places like China and visiting the Vatican. He's been trying to create these bona fides for quite some time. And so I don't think anyone should really be surprised by this.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really busy being everywhere but California. Meanwhile, anyone who lives in California, I'm sure you can tell us what has happened under his leadership. Are California residents fed up with Newsom's failures? And can parts of California actually turn red like LA? Has LA had enough?
Well, we've seen, a lot of change over the last few months. Right now, in the last poll we saw, about 2/3 of Californians think that the state is on the wrong direction. I mean, this is a guy that took $100 billion surplus and in just 2 years made it a $50 billion deficit. So we've seen it on the registration side. We picked up registration in every single congressional seat. We are the reason we have a House majority right now. We picked up 5 congressional seats in the last 2 cycles. We will protect those. We will go out and we will try and grow our majority right here in California. But Gavin Newsom's policies is really what has put him in this position in California. Whether it's the homeless crisis, the housing crisis, our education crisis, the public safety crisis, or the economy crisis. These are all policies that have affected everyday Californians and have said, listen, we need to do something different here.
Yeah, let's talk about actual statistics. So I'm going to read these for you. California has the highest unemployment of any state, the third highest cost of living. It's home to the sector with the most illegal border crossings, okay? Violent crimes in California are 31% higher than the national average. Let's not forget, all the small businesses who decided we're out of here. California has led the nation in U-Haul departures 4 years in a row. It has been a disaster. It is very expensive to live in the state of California.
Absolutely. Gavin Newsom continues to be the employee of the month after month for places like U-Haul and pods where people are leaving our state. We lost a congressional seat for the first time in our state's history because more people were leaving our state than coming in. California, this is a beautiful place to live, and I think it's absolutely worth fighting for. But it's very clear that Gavin Newsom's policies have affected the way people are viewing California. And I don't think anyone in the country is saying we should be doing what California is doing. No. What is that state of affairs for the Democrat Party, that this is their bench? Their current nominee is unable to string a sentence together, and the people that are waiting in the wings have done things like this to such a great state like California.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say we should be doing exactly what California is doing, but people do say California is a beautiful state. Just like you said, we have it all here. You can be at the beach, you can be in the mountains, you can go see the snow. I mean, it is a beautiful state. I grew up in the state of California, and what I see now is appalling. I have little kids. My oldest says, Mommy, what is going on? We see homeless everywhere.
It's been absolutely appalling to watch. You're right. We are number 1 in the nation when it comes to homeless.
Yeah.
50% of the nation's homeless are right here in California. We are number 1 in the nation when it comes to poverty. We have the highest poverty rate of any state. You mentioned before the unemployment. We are number one in unemployment amongst the country, amongst the nation, the states around our nation. It is so sad to watch what California Democrats have done to our state in such a short time, but I think that Californians are ready for a turn.
Can we talk about the gas tax?
Yeah.
Another gas tax? It's already expensive. What's going on?
We have the number one gas tax in the nation as well. We just, Gavin Newsom and California Democrats just increased that gas tax again on July 1st. Just like Mets fans can count on giving that $1 million to Bobby Bonilla every July 1st, California drivers can count that their gas tax will go up. We pay more for gas and more on our gas tax than any other state in the nation. These are not the types of lifts that you want to be at the top of. Yet California Democrats kind of pride themselves on what they've done to our state.
I mean, on average, Californians pay, $300 extra just on gas tax per year. I mean, it's already expensive. I want to talk about the retail theft. This has been in the news. I mean, it's out of control in California. Many blame Prop 47, which basically drops shoplifting and grand theft from felonies to misdemeanors. That's if the value stolen is less than $950. Reforms to this law are headed to the ballot in the fall. I know a lot of Californians are happy about that. Newsom tried to sabotage the changes to Prop 47. I mean, I don't understand why he would want to sabotage what's happening, but now we're learning that Newsom's efforts just failed. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so what we've seen here in California, what Gavin Newsom and people like Kamala Harris are trying to take to the rest of the nation is the decriminalization of crime here. And what we've seen is that it puts more criminals out on our streets. So we see more crime. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. But we had a bipartisan coalition that put together a proposition to go on the ballot that would fix many of these pitfalls that were in Prop 47. It was sold to us as the Safe Schools and Neighborhood Initiative. Who doesn't want safe schools and neighborhoods? But it has been clearly anything but. These smash and grabs have become a regular occurrences in communities all around our state. Gavin Newsom and California Democrats first tried to put legislative fixes through the California legislature, which had poison pills in them that would essentially be nullified if Proposition 47 reforms passed on the ballot, which they are polling incredibly well. Like I said, this is a bipartisan effort. Mm-hmm. Just a few nights ago, in a last-ditch effort, he tried to put his own ballot initiative to compete and confuse voters. But it's become pretty clear that if he wants to run a floor drill at the national convention, it's going to be pretty difficult if he's out there having to campaign for a proposition at the same time.
Yeah, you make a good point. It was bipartisan. Why confuse the voters? Because, people are busy. They have a lot going on. They'd be like, wait, what am I voting for? But, the message was clear to these thugs. Go at it. Nothing's going to happen to you. We see the videos. We've seen so many videos where they're just stealing things and the employees are standing there. They're doing nothing. Before we wrap up, Chairwoman, I have to ask you, you've seen the Jew hatred spreading on college campuses throughout California, the encampments, which were all very much anti-American, especially in the UC system. In all of the 10 colleges in California, they failed to protect their students. Who's going to hold them accountable? I know it's summer break right now. They'll be back. Then what? Imagine if the Jewish students were any other race. This would not be allowed.
It's been heartbreaking to watch. And again, Gavin Newsom is in charge of our UC system. And he did nothing, not only to protect our Jewish students who absolutely have every right to be protected and feel safe on our campuses, but other students as well, who did not want to be engaged in this hateful rhetoric, these hateful actions, the vandalism that was taking place on these UC campuses and our Cal State campuses. Gavin Newsom absolutely should have stood up for them. He should have stepped up and he should have made people feel safe on those campuses. And he was a coward and he didn't.
Yeah, he is like so many of these leaders who talk and do nothing. Really, they're this is horrible, and they're just not held accountable. And it's I don't know, it's got to change because the voters are watching very carefully.
Absolutely, and I think that's why programs like yours are so important. The mainstream media puts him up on a pedestal. There are sycophants for him. And we need to make sure that we expose him for everything that he is.
Well, he's very well spoken and they just don't challenge him. That's exactly what's going on. Chairwoman Patterson, thank you so much for being here.